This no-bake chocolate cheesecake is rich, decadent and indulgent. It's quick and easy to make and doesn't require an oven. Start by making a chocolate biscuit base for the cheesecake. You can use any type of cookie or biscuit that you would prefer, but I recommend going with Oreos. They're delicious, rich and sweet, and just work so well for this. I'm using about 25 Oreos for this recipe, which works out to be about 300 grams if you are measuring this by weight. Place your Oreos in a food processor and process until you have fine crumbs. If you don't have a food processor, don't worry, just place the cookies into a plastic bag and bash them with a heavy fry pan or rolling pin until they are fine crumbs. If you would like the full recipe for this chocolate cheesecake, it will be on my website, as well as the full measurements in the description box below. Make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any new content, and take a look at my other no-bake cheesecake recipes. Transfer the cookie crumbs into a mixing bowl and measure out your butter. If you're using Oreos, you'll need half a stick, or about 55 grams. If you're using a different type of cookie with no cream filling, you'll need to double the amount of butter. Melt the butter in the microwave or in a saucepan and pour over the Oreo crumbs. Mix well until you are left with a wet, sandy texture. Pour the cookie base into a lined 8-inch or 20cm cake tin and press down with the back of a spoon until well compacted and even. Place into the fridge to set while we work on the chocolate cheesecake filling. Clean up any crumbs from the base and start on the cheesecake filling. For a good chocolate cheesecake, you need really good quality dark chocolate. Don't use baking chocolate or chocolate chips, as often these are made with oil instead of cocoa butter, meaning they are just nowhere near the quality of a good block. I'm using Whittaker's dark chocolate, which is 50% cocoa solids, so it has a good flavour and sweetness without being too bitter for this cheesecake. Try and use between 45 to 60% cocoa solids for the best flavour. Use a serrated knife or break your chocolate up into small pieces and place into a heat-proof bowl. Place the bowl over a pot of simmering water and turn the heat off and leave to melt slowly. While the chocolate is melting, whip the cream. You'll need 400 ml, which works out to be 1 2/3 of a cup. Pour the cold cream into a large bowl and start to whip with a whisk. You can do this with a hand mixer if you would prefer, but it doesn't actually take that long to do it by hand. If you ever have trouble whipping cream, or you always overwhip it, I have a video full of tips and tricks for getting the perfect whipped cream, even how to fix it when you've overwhipped. I'll have it linked below if you want to take a look. Whip the cream to the softly whipped stage, as it will get whipped more when all the ingredients are mixed together. Set the cream to the side. Your chocolate should be about melted by this point. Make sure it is completely smooth, remove it from the saucepan and set it to the side to cool. In a clean bowl, add the room temperature cream cheese and measure out the icing sugar or powdered sugar. Both the same ingredient, they just have different names depending on where you live in the world. You'll need half a cup, but if you're using a milk chocolate or a sweeter chocolate, I would recommend cutting down to 1/3 or 1/4 of a cup so the cheesecake isn't too sweet. Beat the cream cheese and sugar together with a whisk until completely smooth. This is much quicker and easier if your cream cheese is at room temperature. Let me know what your favourite flavour of cheesecake is and if you have any requests for a recipe. I love fresh and summery tasting cheesecakes like berries or passion fruit, although this chocolate cheesecake is probably my second favourite. It's absolutely delicious and you need to try this recipe. Now just combine everything together. Pour the softly whipped cream and melted chocolate into the bowl and mix with the whisk until everything is evenly combined. This may take a little bit of whisking, but don't worry as the cream won't get over whipped. You should be left with a smooth, fluffy and velvety chocolate pudding consistency. Pour the cheesecake filling into the cake tin and smooth out the top with an offset spatula. Tap it on the bench a few times to remove any air bubbles and place back into the fridge. Now the only thing that can make this cheesecake better is more chocolate, and that is in the form of chocolate ganache. Chop the chocolate into small pieces and place into a small bowl. Pour the cream into a saucepan and place over medium heat. Remove it from the heat when the cream is just coming to a boil and pour over the chocolate. Leave for about 5 minutes before stirring until completely smooth. Pour the ganache over the cheesecake, tap it on the bench to remove any air bubbles, and place into the fridge or freezer for at least 4 to 6 hours or overnight. Now just cut a slice, share around and enjoy. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this recipe and I will see you on my next video.